Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Yay. And this is the Mallorca Connection, starring the star of our show, Roland Friedl. Hello.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Great to see you again. I love your style. You look very classy in black. Cool.
Thank you. I just go along with the background. That's all. So this is our third show today, and we're talking about success. In our other two shows, we were talking about success also in terms of a healthy lifestyle. How will today's conversation be different, or maybe incorporate some of what we've already talked about?
Well, actually, there are some similarities, because we're not going to talk about success in business only. It's a success in your daily life, being a successful partner to your beloved one, being a successful father, mother, being a successful businessman, maybe being a successful artist or sports person, or being successful in your health, in your fitness, whatever it is. It's not just in business and making money.
Roland, while I have you up on Spotlight, tell us a little bit about the work that you do, because you've been traveling around Europe. You have clients all over the world. You have a number of businesses. What exactly is it that you do?
I just love to inspire people, just to make it short. So what I do, I run several businesses. The reason for that is because I have so many interests in different topics. I love to learn, educate myself. I say I'm a long lifetime student. I love to learn, experience, try out new things. I love to challenge myself, meaning getting out of my comfort zone. I love this. I absolutely love it. I was very scared in the beginning when I was in my 20s, but I learned how satisfying it is to challenge yourself and take responsibility and learn new stuff and challenge yourself and getting out of the comfort zone and all the new things you learn, the person you become, the people you meet, and all the rewards you get. That's what I'm doing. And I do business related. I have a company in Switzerland since many years. We train, coach, consult, spare international businesses. I worked with Xerox together worldwide, actually on every continent except Australia and Atlas, in different languages. Companies like OpenText, Diebold Nixdorf, so many huge players on the market. I had the privilege to work with them globally. But I also work with startup companies, small businesses. I do a lot of executive coaching in the past, and I still work for a French company and a Swiss and an Austria-based company. I do coachings for their leadership. That's my so-called main business, if you want. So, but besides that, I dedicate my life to men's work. I become a crew member of the Men's Festival in Austria. That was actually last week or 2 weeks ago. I do a lot of men's work, men's coaching. I support people in the men's field. I love health. Health is another or healthy lifestyle is another very, very important part of my life. Staying healthy, staying fit, because otherwise everything else doesn't make sense or it's not fun anymore. You're not successful in business, in sports, in your family when you're not healthy, taking care about yourself. And I'm very engaged in the environment. So about respecting Mother Earth. I work on my spiritual path, on my so-called enlightenment, you want to call it. Actually, yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, you know what, please, next reincarnation, not coming back to this monkey place. Bring me to another universe. I don't know. I don't want to come here. So I'm working on my spiritual path too. That's what I'm doing. Besides USA Global TV and Radio, of course, since 1.5 years, or even more, almost 2 years in September.
I know, it's amazing. You know, Roland, you are very successful, and at the same time, you've had a lot of challenges, things that have just come up and presented themselves, and you're always positive. In fact, I met with you maybe an hour or so after someone stole your watch, and you were just, I would have been freaking out. I'd be like, no, I can't do the show. I'm calling the police. And you were just so calm, and I really admire that about you. And that, I believe, is a key to your success. How would you describe it?
Well, it was a long learning journey, to be honest. It was a long learning journey, and what I learned in my life is don't be attached to material things. I mean, of course, it's painful when somebody steals your very expensive Swiss watch. Or actually, it was the first one I bought with my own money, so I loved it. 30 years, almost 30 years every day on my arm. But anyway, on my wrist. I learned not to be attached to things. I love material things. I love luxury things. No doubt on that. But I don't, how to say, it's not me. It's part of my life. I love a 5-star hotel. I also love a camping site. I love to go to a nice fancy restaurant, but I also love to go on a simple hut on the beach or some street food in, I don't know, in Bali or in Indonesia or in Thailand. I can enjoy everything, but I'm not attached to it. I had fast cars. I had a large house on the island. Everything fine. For a certain time of period, and then I try something different. I always want to experience, want to try something different. And to be honest, Dr. Jacalyn, my happiest moments have been those when I had no money. Sounds weird. But the thing is, because I had no things I have to take care about it. I had no things that I was afraid that somebody would steal it or damage it, And the most happiest moment in my life was when I had nothing, to be honest. Because I didn't have to care about anything, just me, and enjoying nature and life. You know what? One more story. I remember when I bought my first Porsche, and I paid it cash. It was a month's check, and it was 280,000, so the GT2. And I will never forget it. And I was so excited. Well, I got the money, it's a month's check, and I buy the Porsche, and I didn't know that I have to wait 1.5 years when I get it. But anyway, I got it finally. I drove it. I will never forget it. Driving this Porsche, very proud of it. Was very young in my 20s. Very, very proud of it. And you know what? I found out, shit, my relationship is still shit. So the car didn't make me happy. And this was one of the learnings very, very early. I'm very happy about this. I still enjoyed, of course, luxury things. But I know, I never knew, that they don't make me happy. Happiness is a process, is inside me. The outer world is nice to enjoy, but as I said before, I'm not attached to it at all.
I totally can relate to what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. And I noticed I'm in an area where there's a lot of money, and people come here because it's the summer, and I still see people yelling at each other. I just saw a small child literally cursing his mother out, and she started screaming at him. And I thought, it doesn't matter how much money you have. We are still humans, and we're still having a human experience. So I know that you shared also, you can't run away from your problems. You could travel anywhere you want, but those problems are still coming with you. So
I mean, it's more fun, when you have money. It's no problem. I remember years ago, I had this amazing penthouse on an island. Before I had to think, an amazing penthouse, an amazing, stunning view, luxury, huge one. And a friend of mine, a gay person, and he was engaged with a very famous actor. And the actor left him, so the relationship broke. And he was sitting on my terrace, sipping on my champagne. I don't know, was it a Moët or a very good, expensive French champagne. I was sipping my champagne, having some good food. I said, Roland, you know what? My heart is broken, but it's easier with champagne than sitting with tea in a small flat. It can help, but it's not solving the problem.
It makes it go down a little bit better, I guess. Yeah. So I know that you have the secret to success. You even have a formula to success. Tell us more about what you're going to be sharing today.
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, I don't want to just talk about success in business, money, money, money. Yeah, it's part of it. I want to talk about success in general, because being a successful as a human being, being successful, maybe in sport, you want to do some sports, you want to being successful in your health, being successful in your relationships, whatever it is, different aspects of success. It's not only business-wise or money-wise. And the reason for it is I wrote a book. I read a book about 30 years, or even, no, much more. I'm getting older, almost 40 years ago. And I highly recommend this book. It's been written by, I don't know if you heard about Napoleon Hill. The title is Think and Grow Rich. Did you ever hear about it? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. He wrote it, I guess, in 1928 or 1930s, in the early 19th or 20, in the early 20th century. He wrote this book, Think and Grow Rich. And this was a game changer for me. And it's not about just becoming rich in business, also becoming rich in your personal growth. And I was reading this book and I said, my gosh, it was such an eye opener for me. And he's writing in this book about different aspects of being successful in business, yes, but also in politics or whatever it is.
I've definitely heard of that book before. I was trying to remember when in my life I had read it, Think and Grow Rich. So do you believe that if we surround ourselves with rich people, successful people, if we're watching and listening to podcasts of people who are rich and successful, will be like a sponge and some of that we'll absorb?
Yeah, when you come to action. If you don't become a podcast or a seminar junkie, how they call them. I know a lot of people, when I was in my 20s, of course, I went to Tony Robbins and all the seminars. And for me, it was important to listen, to learn, try it out, and go to action. And that's why I said, don't become a seminar or podcast junkie, because some people are just reading magazine or listening to podcasts or whatever, but they never go to action. Okay, so it's good to get inspiration by a book, by a podcast, or on YouTube, or in a seminar, in a workshop, whatever it is, by a teacher, by a trainer, by a coach. But you have to take responsibility and get to action. That's the most important thing. I think many people, as I said, die in beauty. Meaning they never stop. They never start. They always say, no, I'm not good enough. I have to learn this. I have to learn this. I have to hear this. I have to read this. They never start. And the most important thing in becoming successful is doing the first step. That's the most important thing. Doing the first step, starting. You're never going to be perfect. So don't work on perfectionism. You're never going to be perfect. And there's also never ever a perfect timing. The best time to start is now. What are we waiting for? It's the first step. It's the first step.
That's so true. I agree with you. I've heard authors, wannabe entrepreneurs. I just need one more class. I just need to do this before I do that. And before you know, it's years of doing this, and this, but not doing that. And they're wondering, is it too late for me to start now? Because I just wasted 5 years. So when do you have enough courses under your belt, enough education, enough experience that you're going to take that major step forward towards your new chapter in your life?
My advice is start, fail, and then listen to somebody. Because the most you get out of a seminar, workshop, or a podcast is when you already have a little bit of experience. You listen differently, and you'll know exactly what you have to pick up, because you know exactly what's missing. So my advice is always start first. Of course, get some basic knowledge of it, no doubt on that. But start and then listen to other people who are successful. Because you know exactly what kind of question you have to ask. You know exactly where you have to focus and listen. Otherwise, everything is theory, because you don't have any practical experience.
So true. And Roland, you had done a number of episodes on Talking Heads that people can go over to our YouTube channel and check out under your name. What about the financial aspect of it? Someone thinking, okay, I don't have X number of dollars to have a storefront and have a marketing team and have all of these employees. but I want to start doing something. And then they talk themselves out of it because they believe that the next step is so huge and encompasses so much money that they just stay where they are.
A good point. First of all, I mean, depending on the business you want to start in, but first of all, you don't need much money. The most important thing nowadays is with this, this globalization, with all these competitors. On the other hand, we have a lot of opportunities because you can sell your services and products worldwide. But on the other hand, there's more competition, of course, because the market is open. But the most important thing today is, I believe, is having a good idea. Having a good idea is the most important thing. And if you have a good idea, money comes to you. Maybe you find an investor or a partner or something like that. So if you have a good idea, don't let stop you by not having the money or the money you think you need. The idea is the most important thing, not the money. I know so many people have a lot of money, bad ideas, bad businessmen, they lost everything. I know rich guys, born in a rich family, having all the money from their dads and grandpas, and they failed. And I know on the other hand, people had no money, but an amazing idea and an amazing work attitude and discipline, and they succeeded. It's not about the money in the beginning. Not at all. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Not at all.
So your mindset has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, your mindset. And, I mean, let's say you want to sell something, a product, a service. I mean, when I started my businesses, there was no internet, there was no smartphones, there was no free communication. All this technology was not available. It was much harder. Today you have this devices. I mean, sorry, I have this smartphone. I'm no commercial. I have this smartphone. It does everything. I can book everything, search everything, photograph everything, video everything, advertise everything. I can call friends for free. It does everything. I remember I bought my first PC. It cost me $60,000 at the time. So $60,000. It has a 5 MB, or how do you call it, to save stuff. 5 MB. It's 2 photos. It was black and white. It was so large and heavy. It will cost me $60,000. And today you get you can take a smartphone or a tablet for a few $100, and you can work on that and do everything. All the communication worldwide is for free when you use, I don't know, WhatsApp, Zoom calls, whatever's available. So there is everything there to build up an international business. The only thing you need is a good idea, and then go for it. That's what you need. And just and spread it. You have social media. You can advertise on social media. You can post for free. It's a hard work, no doubt, but it's possible. So money shouldn't be an excuse.
And let's face it, Roland, when people are looking for excuses, they're going to find them. So easy.
Always. I remember, one story, my ex-girlfriend, when we went to Bali, the idea was doing a business together, but actually her idea was, she has an idea, I finance, I give the money and I work for it. Didn't work. Anyway, but I always told you, she said, yeah, she needs $250,000, $250,000 to start. And I said, why? You can find producers who produce on demand. You can find a platform where you advertise your stuff almost for free. And when somebody wants your product, they order it. The order goes directly to the producer. The producer produces on demand. The customer pays, and you get a fee. Why not starting this way and experience it? And then you're making money and save the money, not spending. Save the money in the beginning and reinvest it in a larger business. Make some money, save it, and reinvest it again. I guess the secret in being successful in business is starting small with a good idea, saving the money, not spending everything, saving the money, reinvesting in a larger scale, and doing it again and again and again. But starting small and experience it. Not, I don't know how it's in the US, but here in Europe, many years ago, everyone wanted to have a fancy car. We call it a company car, a BMW, a Mercedes, whatever. So paying a high leasing rate every month. So the company, you have to impress people. A nice office, stuff like that. You don't need it. You don't need an idea, a smartphone, a tablet, and go. An internet connection.
You just save people a ton of money, Roland.
Yeah.
We have slides here, or maybe one slide. Do you want to start talking about this?
Yeah, let's start about success in general. I mean, success. First of all, success. What is success in general? Success is that you set a goal, and you set a timeline, and you reach this goal. This is success, whatever it is. So what my message is never, ever, whatever you're doing in business, sports, arts, whatever it is, never compare with others. Never. Doesn't make any sense. So success is nothing else than setting a goal within a timeline and reaching this goal within this timeline. That's all about. That's your personal success. Depending what kind of goals you want to reach, depending on the timeline you're setting, but success is nothing else than reaching your goals. That's all about it. But I want to show, I have a formula. And I remember this formula, Birgit, we had her on the Healthy It's Your Healthy Lifestyle show, Birgit Lange. She's a very successful business lady internationally. And she called me actually last week. Yeah, last week she called me. I said, Roland, you brought up this formula in one of your trainings. I was training thousands of people. I said, you brought this formula. Can you bring me this formula again? I said, yeah, I remember this was the formula. So maybe you can bring up the slide and we see the formula. It's a success formula I created years ago. So it's S means performance, also P plus P times R squared. So what does this mean? S stands for success, okay? And the first P is performance. Of course, you have to perform as a businessman or woman, as an artist, as a sports person, whatever it is, whatever topic or area you want to be successful, okay? You have to perform. You have to give everything, whatever is needed, okay? This is performance. The P is performance. And I think this is, everybody understands that you need performance and you have the best performance and getting better and better and perform better and better, be more efficient, more productive. I guess everybody understands that performance is so important. And I know many people who have an amazing performance, but the P is missing. The second P. And the second P is price. You have to pay the price. What I mean by this is that you do what has to be done because it has to be done and not because it's just convenient. It's nothing on TV. There's no Netflix series. My friends don't have time to have a coffee or go, I don't know, to a snooker game or whatever. Paying the price means you do it when it's right now, even when it's inconvenient, even when you don't like it, you want to do something different. It's nice weather. You want to sit outside. Paying the price is so important. I know many people who are very talented. You have the money, for example, to start a business. Maybe they have an idea, but they don't pay the price. They don't get out of the comfort zone. And I saw it many times in my business. I had this network marketing business with hundreds and thousands of distributors. And most of them failed because they haven't been willing to pay the price. And for me, it was clear. I invested all my time, my weekends, everything. I didn't go on vacations. I didn't go again with my friends to see a Formula One race in Hungary or another country. Well, I normally did. Every second weekend we traveled in Europe and see a Formula One race, stuff like that. I didn't show up anymore because I was focused on my business. This mean paying the price. That's the most important thing besides performance. So success is performance plus paying the price. Getting out of your comfort zone.
Roland, I have a question.
Yeah.
So for that one, paying the price, that really resonates with me because, as you know, from me telling you, I work 90 hours a week, sometimes 85 hours a week. And I'm happy to do it because I believe that's what it takes. But I get a lot of flack from people who come on even as guests and say to me, oh, you're doing the wrong thing. You don't have work-life balance. And I say, no, I don't have work-life balance because this is what it takes to grow two businesses. Because if I'm not there, who's going to do it? Obviously, I have people who I hire as contractors and whatnot, but this is what it takes. I have to do this for 3 years.
Absolutely. Every success story starts with yourself. And I have some story. I remember when I was in this MLM business, very successful. I was every year I was invited in Switzerland to a very, very successful business person, and to be one of the star speakers there. And I always show up a day before, so I always want to make sure that if there's a delay on an airplane or so, I really show up. So I always travel the day before. And so I came to the hotel where the venue was going on, the event was going on in this venue. And I saw my friend who was the organizer, this businessman, and Bill, and sweating, sweating, and doing all the setup, the tables and the chairs for hundreds of people, and doing it by himself, just alone, fucking alone, for hundreds of people, building up the seminar room. And I said, "Good, what the fuck are you doing? Nobody here from your distributors around the area." And I said, Roland, it's always the same stuff. You will need somebody, nobody's there. So I took off my suit and we went to the basement. I was dirty like crazy. And we built up everything. And he said, Roland, that's the reason why you were the number one in Austria. I'm the number one in Switzerland, the company. Because we pay the fucking price. We show up. And we're not good enough. We have been national marketing director like Birgit, yeah? But we do the setup. We do everything that is necessary. And it was necessary to set up the chairs and the tables for the seminar starting the next day for hundreds of people. And that's what I mean is showing up and paying the price. Even if it's not comfortable. You know, you travel there in a $1,500 suit. Afterwards, you're sweating and dirty. My friends said, bring it to the hotel to clean it. I paid it for everything. But, you know, that's what I mean. And I learned this years ago when I was reading a book by, actually, unfortunately, he passed away. He was one of the most successful CEO in the world. I guess 1,000 times he increased the share values of General Electric. He was one of the most famous CEOs in the world. And what he did is when he flew in the private jet, in the company jet, to the different companies worldwide, and when the managers you want to meet still haven't been in a meeting, so haven't been available for him, he went around the company. He went in the kitchen and was cleaning the dishes, you know, the coffee cups from the employees, stuff like that. He did everything that was necessary. That's what I learned from this guy. And he became a role model. And I said, okay, why should it be so exclusive or so special not to do this? Doing everything, paying the price and starting from scratch when it's necessary. There come times when you can afford somebody to hire. But even then, I do it by myself because it's showing up. It's part of your character, showing up and doing what is needed.
I agree with you. And it's also being a role model. How many times do you see leaders just sitting on a desk or on the conference room table, delegating, you do this, you do that, and people are just looking at them without respect. And you see other people literally throwing themselves into the business, doing whatever needs to be done, picking up trash, walking around, greeting people, whatever has to be done, paying the price. I love how you describe that. Very well done.
And I have another story. I remember when I started the Juice Plus business in 1994. So 29 years ago, I signed up the contract. And after a few months, the company called me and said, congratulations, you've been the fastest growing distributor in Europe. Actually, first my answer was, what the fuck did you ask? Because it was normal for me to keep everything in. So they called me the most successful or fastest growing, whatever. So I was inviting to Amsterdam. There was a convention, I don't know, 8,000 to 10,000 people. So the flight was paid and the hotel was paid. And the president, Jay Martin, the founder of the Juice Plus company, a billionaire, picked me up at a hotel in a stretch limo, and we went to this venue, this huge conference, the Rise Center, this huge conference center in Amsterdam. And I had a ticket to show up because, you know, there are people, local people from Amsterdam, security people who are checking your ticket. I showed my ticket, and he had none. He had no ticket with him. I don't know, maybe he forgot in the hotel. I don't know. Anyway, and I was looking at it. You know what he did? Normally, a so-called leader is not a leader. A manager would say, hey, don't you know, hey, I'm the owner, I go in. Well, you know what he did? He went to the booth stand, to the ticket corner, bought a ticket, showed it up, and we went in. And I said, wow, how cool is this? How cool is this? He wasn't complaining because the local guy didn't know who he is, that he's the owner and the founder of the company, of this billion-dollar company. He had no idea. He was not arguing. He said, oh, yes, I have no ticket. I'm sorry. He went to the counter, bought a ticket, showed the ticket up, and we went in. And this was another learning lesson for me.
That's huge. I love that. I have one to share also. When I was in corporate, we had a team of people. We sold meetings and events. And so my staff and I would go in and we would set up early and then make sure everybody got to where they're supposed to be going and then turn the tables in the room in between events. So anyway, this big event was taking place and everyone had to have a name tag. And so I saw the CEO of the company. He was coming down in the elevator with some other people and he had no name badge, no name tag. So I went over to him and I was really nervous, but their policy was everyone had to have a name badge. So I went over and I said, sir, I know you're the CEO, but would you mind going back? And it wasn't just, he had to go back and over. It was like in between 3 buildings. And he said, absolutely, I should have worn it. Now, somebody else, because I have had this happen at another company, and the person said, everybody knows who I am. I'm the CEO. Okay. But this guy went back and got the badge, and I never forgot that.
Yeah, this is a role model. This is a real leader, leading by example. It's not about talking; it's leading by example. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's so true. And I learned so much from other people, and I said, okay, this is a behaving that really attracts other people. It's not just talking. There's so many talkers outside. It's more about acting and how you act. So let's go back to the formula. So S is success is performance. That's clear. Plus price. I guess we talked about paying the price. Yeah, we have to pay the price. And in the beginning, it's inconvenient, of course, but it takes time to build up a business. And it doesn't matter what it is. I remember I met a person who was very successful in social media, building up a brand in social media, 100,000 followers. And I said, "What? How did you do this?" So I said, "You know what? I was working 7 days a week, 16 to 18 hours. I thought that my smartphone is already connected to my left hand. He was posting and texting, thinking about it, research. He was working 16 to 18 hours, 7 days a week for 2 years. So it's paying the price. It's paying the price. And when you look at, I will never forget that I wrote the book about Andrew Agassi wrote, or a ghostwriter, I don't know, because I love Andrew Agassi, the tennis player. He's a little crazy guy like myself, and he describes in the beginning how he was paying the price. We always see the success, but we never see the price. How to pay the price, and you always have to pay a price, whatever it is. If you're a musician, you play the whole day on your violin, you like it or not. If you're a soccer player, a tennis player, or even in business, you have to pay the price. You show up every single day. And I remember years ago when I was playing in golf, I was very much into playing golf, and I was invited by, I guess it was Diners Club. Yeah, it was. I guess it was sponsored by Diners Club, and we had a week playing golf in a nice resort in Turkey. With Anders Forsbrand, a Swedish European winner. And we went there, I guess it was in January, and the weather was really bad. It was raining. So what we did, it was vacation, for us. So we played a little bit golf, but when it was raining, we were sitting inside in this club lounge, having coffee, cognac, champagne, enjoying the time inside because it was heavy raining and freezing cold. And Anders Forsbrand, what he did? Standing on the driving range, the rain came from this because it was very windy. No, the rain was not like this, it was like this. He was on the driving range, hitting a ball, hitting another ball, hours and hours, while we were sitting in front of the warm chimney. And that's paying the price. It's also important. Nothing is just like this.
I love that, especially when you're talking about professional athletes and the amount of hours that they train, and people think, oh, just pick up a racket and go. No, it's not happening. No, it's paying the price. Absolutely. Yeah, and so as I said, it's performance plus paying the price times relationships squared. So what I mean is relationship. You need relationship. And if you don't have a network, because maybe you come from a middle-class family, or even like myself from a low middle-class family, I was not, in my neighborhood, there was no CEO, there was no millionaire, stuff like that, not at all. But I learned how to build up relationship, how to build up a network. And I guess that was one of the books Keith Ferrazzi. Keith, like Keith Richard from the Rolling Stones, Keith and Ferrazzi, R-Z, Keith Ferrazzi. There's a book, Never Eat Alone. Yeah, that's the book. How building up a network. And that's what I learned, building up networks. And you need the right people around you. And meaning the right people around you, people who you can learn from. So when you want to open a bakery store, never ask your friends or neighbors who are not in the business if it's a good idea. No, go to a bakery store who's very successful and ask for advice. So surround with people who are successful in this field you want to be successful. And I give you another example. I was a runner years ago when I was young, before my accident, and then I started golf and playing golf, and I made the mistake that I hired a golf trainer who was in his 20s. I was in my 40s. Didn't work at all because his spine was totally different. So he had a different approach to playing golf. So I said, okay, if I want to be successful, I have to find a golf trainer. And golf instructor is the same age like mine, who has the same condition like mine. And even nowadays, when I try out different workouts, I go on YouTube and find tutorials. I don't look at a 20-year-old
some doesn't make sense. I'm going to be 60 next year. So I watch 60, 65, 70 years old and learn from them. So surround with people who have the same, maybe the same conditions, but all are already successful in the business field or in the area you want to be. And surround with them and learn from them. And maybe what I did, I remember I had a mentor. I was 21 and he's still my friend. He's 10 years older than me. And I was 21, he was 31, and he was already a millionaire. And I asked him to become a mentor. And I had 3 different mentors in my life. And I said, well, what can I offer to you? Well, I want to give something back. So find a mentor who is successful in the area you want to become. So build up relationship. And one thing I learned is that most people make a mistakes in building up relationships. So let's say I love to scale it from 1 to 10. Yeah, number 1 person is a person who has no relationship, no success in life, no self-esteem, and a 10 is a very successful person, whatever business it is or field it is, a person who has charisma, a charismatic person. He went into a room, a restaurant, and people shut down and look at this person. Yeah, it's a 10. So when you're diplomatics, you say, okay, I see myself as a 5, for example. Yeah, I see myself as a 5. So in your personal environment, in school, in your profession, in your family, in your, I don't know, in the gym or whatever you're doing, you surround yourself with 5, with 4s, and with 6. There's no 9 or 10 in your friends. This is not normal. This is a different social class. So you're surrounded with the people who are the same like you. You're 5, the 6, and the 4. The most people, especially men, who are very ego-driven, they surround with the 4s, because within the 4s, they're the heroes. Everybody's looking up to them. They can tell their stories, their jokes, whatever it is, and surround them with 4s. And the problem is, when you surround with 4s, you get the networks. Because the 4s have in the network 4s, 5, and the 3s. They are the 3s. And then the 3 listens to you. So you're downscaling your network. So my advice is, when you're 5, surround with 6. Meaning, shut up and listen and learn. Go there and listen. Listen to people. When I started my career, I learned to go to events where successful people are. I looked around who is successful. These are the people who stand and the other approach. Go to them. So, the light who attracts the flies, or whatever you call it. I went there, and when these people was in a conversation, I was just listening. And in a break, I introduced myself. Sorry, I want to introduce myself. My name is Roland. I'm coming from here. It's a very interesting conversation. Would you mind if you stay here? I want to learn something from you. It always worked. And I got introduced to this person. I got to know this person. This person invited me to another event. And so I built up my network from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. But this was work. This was strategy. And you need time. And people have to understand this. You can build up a very successful network, even when you're a middle-class boy like myself, when you know how to do it and when you have a strategy how to do it. And when you get rid of your ego.
Wow, Roland, that's amazing. By the way, we have some comments. Push Child Foundation Uganda, thanks for the show.
Hi, guys.
Hi. And also Gaffa, hello, good evening. Joining us from Ghana. And she will be joining our team as an intern very soon. We're excited to have Gaffa.
Hi, Gaffa. So that's about relationship. You need a network of people who support you. And that's so important. And by the way, I was talking about the book by Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. You always have to eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Never go alone. Go with other people, and you can have a conversation and learn and listen. Learn and listen.
Roland, a question I have for you about this is, do you still want the slide, by the way? Should I leave it up?
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, what is the percentage of giving away something versus charging for something? So in other words, as a mentor, someone could contact you and say, I need some mentorship. And maybe you'll say, yes, let me give you some of my experience. At what point do you say, okay, now I need to have you hire me?
When somebody asks for mentorship.
Yes. Yes. So you're talking about your network of people.
Yeah, my mentorship is not, it's not like coaching. My mentors, I ask them questions. If it's good or bad, I never give an answer. They ask me always question back. It was kind of coaching, because they had a lot of experience. And I was giving back to them. I always asked them, what do you want? And one of my friends, Eric, he had troubles, he had family trouble. So I could give him advice with his kids and his wife and stuff like that. And the other one just said, hey, when you're successful, give back to the society, whatever you want to give back. So, but ask for mentorship. Look for successful people and role models and ask for mentorship. And it doesn't mean that you call them every fucking day. I called them or met them. I met them once, twice a year. I called them, I don't know, every 2 or 3 months when it was really important for me. That's what I did. But find some rules how you can balance it. I think it's so important to give back. And mostly rich people don't want money of you because they have enough money. Maybe you can give something else what they don't have. Or most of them ask me, give back to society. When you reach your goals, give back, or maybe you become a mentor to other people. That's what I'm doing at the moment is, like supporting Bush Child Foundation or other organization, or giving coaching for free for people who cannot afford it.
I love this. Thank you, Roland. We also have another comment from Push Child. Successful people take risk.
Yeah, always. Of course, taking risk, but without going crazy, I mean, the point is when you start a career, whatever it is, sports career, artist career, or business career, I would say when you're single and you have no responsibility for kids and a spouse, go full risk, nothing to lose. But when you have already kids, small kids, a family, you have to take care about this. You cannot go full risk. It doesn't, in my opinion, because you're responsible for your kids. You cannot go on full. You have to make sure they have to have a certain amount of income that pays your rent or your mortgage or whatever. So your kids are not going to lose the roof over your head. So taking risk, yes, you have to take risk, but it depends. The percentage of risk you're taking depends if you're alone or not alone.
Good point. Roland, I can't believe we're actually out of time. Our next show is starting in a few minutes, so we're going to have to wrap up. Yeah, just to summarize it. First of all, success is nothing else than you set a goal within a time frame and you reach this goal, whatever it is. Then you're successful. When you reach this goal, and never ever compare to others. Doesn't make sense at all. Only compares with your own goals. Set your goals. Learn how you set a SMART goal. Learn about this. There are many courses out there. You find it on internet. SMART goals. What is a SMART goal? Set a SMART goal. Write it down. And when you reach this goal, you're successful. And then you set another goal and another goal and another goal. It's all about it. And pay the price. It's about paying the price. I'm sorry, guys, but there is no free lunch. No matter what you're doing, there is no free lunch. And even when you start a business with no, as we said before in the discussion, Dr. JACALYN, most of the businesses, you don't need much money. You need a good idea. I mean, you need money. If the idea is good enough, you find an investor or you can do crowdfunding, whatever. There's so many options out there. So don't worry about the money. Worry more about the idea, good market research, that you know exactly you have the product on the right time for the right people. You know your target group. That's the most important thing. And go for it. And then pay the price and work your ass out. Really, it's especially in the beginning. You have to create momentum. And what's also important, my last statement is celebrate like hell every small success. Celebrate small success. It's so important to keep the motivation. Thank you. Thank you. Roland, how can people get in touch with you? Are you available to be partnering with someone in terms of them hiring you for your services?
Yes, sure. If you want to contact me, the best way is email me if you want. It's office at my name, rolandfriedl.com. Or rolandfriedl.com is also my main website. I will spell it for you guys. It's ROLANDFRIEDL, rolandfriedl.com. There's also a contact form, but you also can email me directly, office at rolandfriedl.com. Let's talk, let's connect, and let's see where we are going. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And thanks for sharing the secret formula with us. I love it. Let's take it off right now. We're coming right back with our next show, which is A Woman's Prerogative. So
have fun with the ladies. My regards to all these beautiful ladies. Thank you so much.
I definitely will. Thank you so much, Roland. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.